All right, we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to the BBQ Show Live / the Owl's Nest BBQ Show. Coming to you live from Ooltewah, Tennessee. Thank you for joining us. Our special guest tonight, we're going to be the guys from the Baseball and BBQ Podcast. I'm looking to refresh my page. Hold on, guys. Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen. Say good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Right on cue. Very good. Very good.
We do that well.
They have got the most unusual podcast out there, listened to by thousands of people every week. It's about baseball and barbecue. And we're going to talk to them tonight. We're going to go about how they came up with that. And the most famous guest. We're going to talk about the one thing. You can't talk about baseball without talking about one thing, and that's hot dogs. We're going to talk about hot dogs. Just program note, next week we'll be talking charcoal. We just got in the new line of Blues Hog charcoal, and we're going to add the radio station right now. So this is always an iffy deal here.
Ariel Albinger, 2 congressional delegations got a first-hand look at the detention center along the Texas border. One of the state's Republican senators, John Cornyn, led a group of 17.
Okay, Aaron, do your thing. Hey, JD.
And Health and Human Services and the non-governmental organizations that are struggling to deal with this flood of humanity tell us they cannot get ahead of this flood of humanity without policy changes in Washington, D.C.
The other was a delegation of Democratic House members led by Texas Congressman Joaquin Castro.
We're here today to go back to Washington and offer recommendations for how this process can be improved, how the asylum process can be improved, and people's human rights can be respected.
Officials say there are...
All right. I believe he's turned down the sound. I think that he's done that. Did you turn down that sound? JD turned down the sound. He knows how to do it. That's fantastic. This is going to be a great show, gentlemen. Aaron is trying to bring in Jeff right now to the screen. There he is. Jeff Cohen on the bottom. Leonard on the top. We've got JD back at the studio where we can see him. This is fantastic. I wonder what's going to go wrong, though. Because there's no way.
There's got to be a hiccup somewhere.
Next time you guys got to, Jeff, drive the mile and a half. I'll own a gas.
Okay.
I'll send you some gasoline. How much is gasoline in Long Island? Or on
It's
Long Island? I forgot.
It's getting up there. It's almost $3 now.
Yeah, on Long Island.
We're going up.
Let's see, you ride. What Jerry Seinfeld says: you ride in the cab, you ride on the bus. You go. Let's see.
In the plane.
You go on to Long Island. You go into downtown, or you go into town.
And he also says, who are these people?
That was a fair representation of him, actually, right there.
I love that. Going to coffee in cars with comedians or whatever that thing on Netflix is. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's very funny.
That one with Sebastian Maniscalco was just...
Oh, he's hilarious.
He's not the funniest human being on the face of the earth.
He certainly is.
We got a guy down south. I don't know. He's on Netflix now. Have you seen Jeff or Nate Bargatze? Have you watched him yet? You guys get Netflix in New York?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. No, we haven't gotten it yet. Actually, we're waiting.
They got it 10 years before
New York doesn't have Netflix. We don't even have cable.
Nate Bargatze, his newest one is the greatest. The greatest average American. It's funny.
See, Jeff, I told you, Ooltewah, Tennessee has Netflix.
There you go.
Okay, I can move there.
And running water.
Most of the time.
As soon as they get...
indoor plumbing?
When they get that,
Depends
I'm
on where
moving
you
there.
go.
Long Island talking to Ottawa, Tennessee.
Who would have thunk?
Who would have ever thought that? Again, everybody, Al Salvage, welcome. Al says he's watching the Braves, so he's multitasking. Greg Hardiman, hello, Craig. Greg from Outhouse Barbecue down in Rainsville, Alabama. Tom Ehide is with us. Hey, Tom. How you doing? The usual suspects are in the house. We've got Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen with us from Baseball and BBQ. Al, you can probably listen to their podcast. I know you will. Baseball and BBQ. And, you would wonder how they make that work, Jeff, but they make it work if you've ever heard it. Last week's podcast was probably the best one you've ever done.
Actually, I watched the last couple, so I did see that you were on the last two. So
That's why the last one.
I wanted a little bit of background, so I did. I fast forwarded through your part, Steve. So
It was good. It was good.
It was good. You were good. You were excellent. Baseball and barbecue is like a Reese's peanut butter cup.
That's right.
Chocolate and peanut butter. It goes perfect.
actually, Steve impressed me with his baseball knowledge.
Yeah.
Knows the stuff.
Yeah. Jeff impresses me with his baseball knowledge too.
Yeah.
I don't know much as Jeff
Jeff
Maxwell.
Cohen.
I don't know as much as Jeff Maxwell does.
Well, I don't know about that.
The judges pick the Green Mountain Grill. At the
Okay,
Owl's
here we go.
Nest
Get ready.
Pro Shop, we have all 3 Green Mountain Grills plus plenty of accessories, plus free assembly and instruction. You'll love the way your food tastes, and the versatility of the Green Mountain Grill is second to none. Get yours at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop in Ottawa.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome to the weekend, and welcome to The Barbecue Show with Steve Ray. The Barbecue Show is brought to you by the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop in Ottawa, by the historic Midnight Oil Service Station in Ottawa, by Michelin Tires, because so much is riding on your tires, and by all the great barbecue products and supplies at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop. I know you've got questions, and we've got answers, so pick up the phone, 423-267-1023, and let's talk some barbecue. Hey, it's the beginning of the weekend. Welcome, everybody, to the Big Barbecue Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3 and on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Facebook page, the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa, right next door to the historic Midnight Oil Service Station and Michelin Tire Direct on the east side of I-75, right off of Exit 11. Just follow your nose. The Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply is where Chattanooga goes to barbecue, rubs, sauces, Green Mountain Grills, and now the best selection of pellets for your pellet smoker, and now stocking the entire line of Blues Hog charcoal. Big announcement. Natural, lump, and briquette, all available. And the famous charcoal logs. If you've never seen the charcoal logs, come by and check these things out. Super long burning charcoal for your grill. If you haven't grilled till you've grilled with Blues Hog charcoal. Plus we stock the popular Blues Hog sauce, rubs, and brine. Jeff Maxwell in the house with me. JD back at the studio, turning the knobs, keeping the radio side of things smooth. Aaron Carver keeping the Facebook side of things smooth. And we want you to call 267-1023, 423-267-1023. Even if you are outside the local dialing area, it's still 423-267-1023. Give us a call. JD will answer the phone. He'll put you on hold, and we'll get right to you with all your barbecue questions. Hey, anything goes on this show. If you got a question about how to, what if, this is what I got, give us a call, 267-1023, and we'll help guide you through. And tonight, we've got a good one tonight. This is big. This is big. We've got the special guest on the show tonight are 2 guys with one of the most unique podcasts out there. But once you think about it, it makes perfect sense. The Baseball and BBQ Podcast episodes are heard by thousands every week. And tonight we have the 2 guys responsible for that broadcast, Jeff Cohen and Leonard Aberman, coming to us live from Long Island, New York. What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Hey, Steve.
Hello, it's great to be here.
Long Island. What do you live on the tip, or do you live like where it just comes from land? Or I don't know much about Long Island. Tell us about it, Long Island.
Well, we're not at the tip. We're in Long Island is into two counties, Nassau and Suffolk. Suffolk is the one where it has the tip, the North and South Fork with Montauk. We're in mid I would say middle of the island, not too far from Jones Beach.
Which is the rich county, Suffolk or Nassau? Which is the rich one?
Well, I think they both have their own unique places where
we're just not in those rich areas.
We're not
y'all
there.
are among the chosen. Y'all are among the chosen.
We can get there by car, though. We can't drive there. But when we're in their neighborhoods, they kind of say, "Excuse me, you guys lost."
Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen coming to you live from Long Island, the producers and stars of Baseball and BBQ Podcast. All right, Leonard, let's go with you first. All right, and Jeff, I'm sure you're used to this because everybody always talks to Leonard first. Where does the Baseball and BBQ Podcast originate from? I know you're on Long Island, but where is the super studio that beams it out to millions?
Oh, the super studio is a bedroom in Jeff's house.
No. I mean, you're supposed to do better than that, Leonard.
Okay, we don't need to have the problem is we do it there. We don't disclose the address because when we walk outside after recording, we do not want the fans and the paparazzi to jump us. It's we just want to live a normal life. We're average people. So, but it's out of Jeff's house. It's amazing what you could do with technology these days.
So y'all get together at Jeff's house and do it together, or do you do it like this? Like I know you live a mile and a half apart, and you couldn't spend the gas money Jeff to drive down to Leonard's house where we could only have one Skype production, right?
Well, there's a pandemic going on, so we you know what? Prior to the pandemic, we did do it, and it's it's funny. It's not funny. Well, I think the pandemic actually helped our show in a way, because prior to the pandemic, we were in the same room. We did not use Zoom. We didn't use good quality. Our sound wasn't as good, and now our sound is much better. So. We do it via Zoom usually, and we have such a give and take between us. We have such a we know each other so well that we're able to do it without being in the same room and still have a great show.
Right. Len gives it and I take it. Actually, Len's correctly, because we did have a sound problem earlier. We used to do our interviews on phones, and the sound quality wasn't great. But once we discovered Zoom, we found our sound quality has gone up so much better, and we're able to get great guests, and we can actually converse with them more like this. And we just record it and put it into a podcast.
Who is the or first of all, how long have y'all been doing it?
3.5 years.
Wow.
Now. Yeah.
Are you one of those guys that count the episode like this is episode number?
Yes, we do.
So which episode? What are you on now?
Well, actually, tomorrow we release. Jeff, no, I'm doing all the talking. Jeff, go ahead. What do we release tomorrow?
We released number 90 tomorrow. And you know what? Let me just say this. I always thought you had to number the episodes, so I got doing it.
No, I think it's 89 tomorrow, isn't it?
I'm sorry, you're right. Tomorrow is 89.
Yeah, because we release every 2 weeks, but sometimes a bonus episode. Mm-hmm. So even though we've been doing it 3.5 years, we don't have 150-something episodes. We do it, every 2 weeks with bonus episodes. So tomorrow's 80.
I think just so you do it regularly, and that's what builds your audience.
Right. And Jeff, who's on it?
Into the thousands and thousands of people that are listening right now. Okay. Jeff, who is the baseball guy, and who is the barbecue guy?
Well, I would be the baseball guy.
Okay.
And Leonard is the barbecue guy.
So I'm not baseball at all. I have no.
You know a little. You know what? You know as much as baseball as I know as much as barbecue. Let's put it that way.
So then you're saying I don't know much. No, that's not true. That's not true. But wait, we didn't get to tomorrow's guest. Let's just quickly, because all the people out here are really going to clamor for the guest that we have tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. It's a sports writer named Anthony DiComo. He wrote a book on one of our favorite players, David Wright.
The pitcher?
Third baseman.
Third baseman?
No, the Mets player, third baseman for the Mets.
Okay. Who was that kid that was from Texas? That was David Clyde.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
How did this thing come about? Where were you drinking too much beer when you came across this idea, and what bar were you in? And like, hey, I've got a great idea. Since we're married, we can't chase chicks. Let's do a podcast. Where did that come from?
I'll tell you what. Glenn's laughing too much, so I'll take this. You know, we just talked a lot about baseball all the time. We talked about barbecue all the time. And we just figured, why don't we just record it? And this way we can get together as often as we could. And we figured maybe there's people out there who wants to just hear us BS about baseball and barbecue. And we just decided to record. I did some research on how to upload it to a podcast service, and voila, it happened one day, and we kept on doing it, and this train has been going ever since. But I got to give Leonard a lot of credit, because we were just talking baseball and barbecue. No, we didn't have any guests the first couple of episodes. But Leonard reached out to a great guy named Bob Kendrick of the Negro Leagues Museum. And when he got him, it was just unbelievable, that interview. And we just wanted to do interviews with people from barbecue and the baseball world.
It's a little scary, isn't it, that that's all it takes is a telephone or a microphone and a website, and you get with an upload button, and boom, you're worldwide all of a sudden, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's it. And it's a funny thing, because I recorded on Audacity on my computer. Len does a lot of the promotion. He does a lot of the writing. I do a lot of the editing and uploading. So it's a good mix. But we complement each other very well.
So 267-1023, that's our number, 267-1023. If you want to join in the conversation, by all means, call in. JD will answer the phone. He'll put you on hold, and we'll get you on the air while we're talking with the Baseball and BBQ Podcast fellows from Long Island, New York, Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen. How much editing goes in to your podcast?
I would say a fair amount. I'm self-taught, so I've been getting better and better as I do it, and I've been doing it 3 years now. If you go back to our earlier episode, you'll hear the difference. I really try to cut out a lot of the ums and ahs and things like filler words, and try to make it more of a smoothing process. And it's I think it's doing pretty good. What do you think, Leonard?
Yeah, I agree. If I could, Steve, I could go back to, we were of the, when Jeff and I started and we would have these conversations, we were of the a delusion that people would think, hey, that's interesting, these two guys talking. Kind of, hey, people they're gonna want to listen to us. I can't understand why not. And and it's funny because they enjoy listening to us. Sometimes we get people saying, we we want more between you two, but they love the interviews as well. So, but Jeff spends a lot of time editing. But I will say, Steve, the 2 episodes that you were on, well, we split yours into 2. He didn't have to do much editing. So that's credit to you.
Did you have to do a lot of editing on Doug's, I'll bet, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
No.
Bleep out all the cuss words and stuff like that.
Exactly.
We were talking about my friend down in Texas, Doug Scheiding, who is one of the true jewels in barbecue. What a great fella and what a great friend he was and has become of mine. And
we love Doug.
He's a wealth of
We absolutely love Doug.
We're going to get him on the show one night. He's a wealth of inspiration and information. And he's great, and you'll love the show when we get him on. Tell me how do you decide what baseball person you're going to try to get on? Then who do you decide, or who does the decision making on the barbecue topic of each podcast? Because the way y'all do it, you really intertwine it, and it's interesting because two people, especially guys, if they're thumbing through podcasts and they see something that says Baseball and BBQ, they go, yeah, baby, I'm all over that. And they'll give it a listen. I mean, that's a guy's topic all the way. But who decides who's coming on and who's not, and who makes the cut, and what we're going to talk about in barbecue?
Well, Steve, that is, first of all, you know, because being in barbecue, how just barbecue itself, you could have tons of guests. So having the two, it's limitless what we could do. But so we've got, like, there's a pandemic baseball book club, for instance. Okay, so usually people that write books, they go, they have a book launch, and then they have the book tour and readings in stores and whatever. And because of the pandemic, they weren't able to do that. Mm-hmm. So they formed this club, and we have these authors on our show, and we give them a platform to talk about their books, and we try to promote them and sell them for them. So that has been a big thing for us. We've had a lot of authors on, and then we'll look at. I mean, I'll see. Like we just did an interview with Mackie Sasser, former Mets catcher. We haven't released it yet. I just happened to see him on Facebook, and I just friended him, messaged him, and basically said, Mackie, would you be interested in coming on? And he says, when?
Kidding.
Yeah. Some of it is
he's
is
on
dumb
Facebook.
Luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a pretty big player.
Yeah.
I mean, he was legit.
Same thing with Mark Littell, who was pitcher for the Royals. I got in touch with him versus Facebook, and he came on. And some of it's just dumb luck.
And you had, a couple of weeks ago, you had Hojo on.
Hojo,
right.
Yeah.
That's big.
Tell how we got Hojo.
Hojo
hold that,
Twitter.
Jeff. I tell you what, Jeff, hold that story. We got to do our first break, okay? We're going to take our first break. The day we come back, we're going to hear the Hojo story on the Baseball and BBQ podcast. The Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply is the proud home of all the Butcher Barbecue products from two-time barbecue world champion David Bosca. His rub, sauce, and grilling oils turn ordinary barbecue into extraordinary barbecue. Grilling addiction rub to the famous barbecue mud. Get your Butcher Barbecue products at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. We'll be right back with the Baseball and BBQ Podcast guys, Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen, in just a moment, right here on Talk Radio 102.3. All right. Great first segment, fellas. Great first segment. Ken Smith chimed in. Great show, Steve and Jeffy. Thank you very much, Ken. Ken is a podcaster. He does a podcast. You might want to write this down. Get your pencil ready, Leonard. Faces to Places. It is a Southern, all-the-way podcast, and Ken goes to some great places. Aaron, did you share ours to the Backyard Smokers Barbecue page? Okay, good deal. We're also broadcast partners with the Backyard Smokers Barbecue on Facebook. We appreciate all the good folks over there at Backyard Barkers West and his hundreds, thousands of subscribers to that Facebook page watching and listening to us here on Facebook. Always a great bunch of group. And if you ever have a hankering to go to a great barbecue Facebook page for information, and where you can do a little bit of bragging too, you can post some pictures. You go to Backyard Smokers Barbecue on Facebook. They are our broadcast partner here on the BBQ Show Live. Appreciate everybody joining us. What are some of the other comments there, Jeff?
There's no questions. It's just everybody said hello at this point.
Yeah. There'll be questions. And anybody in chat room, feel free to call 423-267-1023. 423-267-1023 if you want to talk with Leonard and Jeff, or Jeff and I, and we'll be glad to entertain your barbecue questions and your baseball questions. And Jeff, what was the first baseball glove you ever had? Do you remember?
It was a small one. I think it was a Willie Mays model from when I was in Little League.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Leonard?
I actually had this little plastic glove that was, I mean, that was really the first one. And then I don't remember the name or whatever, but I know I wore it out. I'll tell you that much.
My first baseball glove, I told my dad I wanted a baseball glove. I was probably 3 or 4. And my dad was a wonderful man. He did not know sports. He didn't know how many home runs it took to win the football game. But he got me a baseball glove, and he put it in the bread box at our house. He goes, "Son, go look in the bread box." And I looked in there, and there was a Spalding baseball glove.
Gary McNamara on Red Eye Radio.
On the Sunday night, Monday morning show, back from the weekend, and the media still wants access at the border. How soon before they get that access from the Biden administration?
And Eric, Bill Gates says the world should be back to normal by the end of 2022.
Red Eye Radio, 7 nights a week, WGOW.
2022.
Talk Radio 102.3 FM, the Talk Monster.
Welcome back to the BBQ Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3 with our guest, Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen, the Baseball and BBQ Podcast guys. Are you a Malcolm Reed fan? Sure you are. We have the entire lineup of how to barbecue right rubs and sauces at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. Did you see Malcolm use his classic, the barbecue rub on a pork butt, then follow it up with his AP rub? Yeah, I saw that too. And you can get them both at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. And before the break, what were we talking about, Jeff? We were going to you, how we got Hojo.
Hojo.
Yeah, that's a great, tell us that story.
Yeah, it's actually quite simple. I just tried corresponding him with on Twitter. It took me a couple of months. I mean, Twitter, if you have it, you might not get a response. But after a while, he responded and he said, "Let's do it." And we were able to set up the conversation, and he came on. He was absolutely great, and he is the perfect guest because he is a baseball guy. And he has a big green egg, and he's a big barbecue guy. So it was a perfect guess, a perfect cross between baseball and barbecue.
Howard Johnson has a big green egg. That's like the ultimate find when you find the baseball guy that knows barbecue. How easy that is a podcast. That's one of those podcasts where you ask the first question, you just go like this,
exactly,
just kick back. It's kind of like interviewing some of the barbecue people that you just kick back and because they just take over. So who is the most famous baseball person that you two have interviewed?
Wow, that's a good question. I guess from my point of view, and then I'll let Leonard go. A couple weeks ago, we interviewed Bobby Valentine, manager, Red Sox manager, Rangers as well. And he is such a great talker. He was so entertaining, and we were fortunate to have him on for like a half hour, and it was great.
Who do you think, Leonard?
I guess big name. Well, if we're going big name, I would say Tim Kurkjian of ESPN is probably the big name. But we've had on what I love about our show and what I love and the challenge of it, and it's not even a challenge because we don't need to have big names. I mean, I'm not going to say, look, anyone who played professional baseball is obviously very skilled. Right. But like I said before, we had Mackey Sasser on. Mackey Sasser had an issue when he played. He had an injury, and he had an issue throwing the ball back to the pitcher. They called it the yips. Mm-hmm. Mackey Sasser is very transparent on that. There was a 30-30 special on it. He got help. He's worked through the problem. He talks about it. He wants to help other people that have that issue. Mackey Sasser's not the biggest name in baseball, but his story is fascinating. We had Mark Littell on. A lot of people wouldn't have any idea who Mark Littell is, but fascinating. So the question obviously was a big name, Tim Kurkjian. I think actually the biggest name and probably one of just my favorite guests of all time is Bob Kendrick in baseball, the president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City, Missouri. The man is just, you talk about someone you could just say something, ask a question, and sit back. He is that man, and the responses that we get, what a guy, and he knows barbecue in the area, being in Kansas City, but actually the first interview we had with him, I said to him, you're in Kansas City. Do you barbecue? And he said, Jeff, Len, when you're in Kansas City, you don't need to barbecue. And and he's just an amazing guest. So we big names, the small names, I just love to talk to people, whether the baseball, barbecue, whatever it is, and just find everybody has a story, and I think that's what's amazing about what we do. We get the people and they just talk, and sometimes they'll start out the show a little tense maybe, but by the time we're finished, it's like we have a best friend. And that's how we felt when we talked to you, Steve. We finished talking to you, and we just, I think you felt that we're just regular guys, Oh, yeah. We put our pants on one leg at a time while Jeff tries to jump in 2 legs at a time.
I do
Sometimes he misses. But we love it. But yeah, I guess long-winded way of saying big name, Tim Kirchin, probably for me. So
that's pretty big. All right, let's talk food now. We're gonna have to morph into food now. When you go to a ballpark, you don't talk about who's got the greatest barbecue at a ballpark. I can't imagine. Can you, Jeff? I mean, good barbecue at a baseball park. I've never.
Boog's Barbecue in Camden Yards.
But that's like its own restaurant in a.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're not.
It's pretty darn good barbecue.
Okay. All right. Well, hang on. Let's go to line 1, and we have got Barry on line 1 on the Butcher Barbecue Hotline. Hello, Barry. What's up?
Hey, man. This, like I said, totally off topic, but 2 years ago, I think now, you guys had the brisket cook-off at Cambridge Square.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Texas for a few years, and so I eat a lot of brisket out there. They're not big pork, they're more brisket.
Right.
But I did the sample, 10 for 10 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yours was literally some of the best I've ever had in my life. It was absolutely just. I was like, she goes, "You want sauce?" And I said, "Well, if it's cooked right, you don't need sauce." And I just got to tell you, it was absolutely incredible.
Barry, I appreciate that. I love cooking brisket.
I'm like, I gotta have.
I love it. There's nothing about cooking a brisket I don't love. And the secret to Texas brisket, Texas style brisket, is the pepper that you use. And I use a lot of people use number 16 mesh. I use number 18 mesh pepper, and that's where you get the good crust and you get the good color from that. And I don't cook it like quite as long as they do in Texas. I don't have that much time, but I appreciate that comment. And we'll be coming back to Cambridge Square hopefully around midsummer, maybe a July 4th event, or maybe end of July event when this COVID thing, when we all get a handle on it and everybody gets vaccinated.
It truly was. I love food. I've got the body just prove it. But no, it was just. I tasted it and I'm like, oh my goodness! And like I said, I don't think I even tried all 10. I tried several others, and I'm just like, I'm just wasting my time. And I just went back to your place and got me a sandwich and some chips and a drink, and went over and sat down and was just in heaven. So
I appreciate that, Bear. It's nice of you.
Keep cooking good, and hope everybody's doing well and like the show.
Great.
I listened last week. It was very enlightening as far as the different types of grills and what they offer and so on and so forth. So, no, it's a good hour.
I appreciate that, Barry. Make sure you tell people and tell those people to tell 2 people and tell those people to tell 2 more people. And then after that, it's just like Amway. It's out of control, and we'll control Friday nights. Thank you so much, Barry. We appreciate it.
Hold a bunch.
You got it. Appreciate you. So let's talk dogs, fellas. Thanks. And Barry's a nice call. 267-1023. That's our number. And I do like to cook brisket, and it's my favorite thing to cook. It's my zen, and I appreciate that compliment. All right, we'll start with you, Jeff Cohen. favorite baseball park and favorite baseball stadium hot dog, and we can include the new restaurant type things, Jeff Maxwell. Like Boog's Barbecue, and I know they've got a couple restaurants down in Atlanta. So Jeff Cohen, what do you think? Best park, best dog.
My favorite baseball park is the one in Pittsburgh, PNC Park. I think it's just an absolute gorgeous park. Greg Lisinski has a place in Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, which has great barbecue as well. But in terms of hot dogs, I would have to say Dodger Stadium with a Dodger dog. And in Cincinnati, the Great American Ballpark, they have a hot dog called a Skyline Chili Dog. It's hot dogs, chili, shredded cheese, onions, and they're famous in Cincinnati for their Skyline chili. So I would say hot dogs go to Cincinnati.
Now in Cincinnati, do they use those Kogel hot dogs?
I don't know the brand, but
Scott Peterson kosher.
Scott Peterson. Okay. Jeff, Leonard, what about you?
Well, they don't let me out much, as you could probably tell. I'm a little nuts, so I'm only allowed out on weekends for a certain amount of hours. But so I don't travel as much as Jeff. But I will say that Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia for Bull's Barbecue, and obviously that's not a hot dog, is great. But for me, and since I haven't traveled much, give me my Mets, give me Citi Field with just a hot dog with, just a dirty water dog with some mustard, some sauerkraut, maybe put some onions on, and that's what I like. I got to tell you, some of these hot dogs, right, that they pile on, they put chili and they put I saw one. There was an article that Jeff sent me on Ballpark Food, and there was one hot dog that they had Fruit Loops on. The breakfast cereal Fruit Loops?
Yeah, Fruit Loops.
They had that as a topping. First of all, I don't get it. But second of all, I like to sit there and watch the game and eat, but not have to, have my hands just get totally, obliterated with the mess. I like to just eat, and then I like to shell my peanuts and just sit there. And so I'm ready for just a regular hot dog, mustard, sauerkraut, Citi Field, my Mets. I'm okay.
Jeff Maxwell, before the break, what's yours?
Well, there's a couple. I agree with Jeff on the Pittsburgh being a great experience. But there's a place in San Francisco, and it's Orlando Cepeda owns the restaurant in center field called Cepeda's, and it's a Cuban fusion restaurant that is phenomenal. As far as a hot dog, I'm a fan of the Best Kosher. That's pretty much a Midwest, Kansas City, Chicago, White Sox. That's my favorite kosher dog.
Very good. All right, we're going to take our second break. You're listening to the BBQ Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3 with our special guests Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen. If those names sound familiar, those are the Baseball and BBQ Podcast guys. And if ribs are your thing, then I have the thing for your ribs. Craig Sherry's famous Texas rib jelly and Texas rib candy, plus his chicken and barbecue rubs are now available at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. Treat your ribs with a taste of Texas from Craig Sherry. We'll be right back with all these guys and your calls at 267-1023 on the BBQ Show live right here on Talk Radio 102.3. Stay with us.
All we hear is the sound of retreating. No one cares where you're coming from.
Never heard it called dirty water hot dog.
Coming soon.
Listen, as soon as you said it, I knew exactly what it was.
$100. Dirty water dogs.
Ever had one in Boston? Had a hot dog in Boston?
Yeah.
Where they serve it on the white bread?
White bread.
You got Wonder Bread and with a hot dog in it.
Right, exactly.
Serve it in a bun?
It's more like a piece of white bread folded than it is a bun, I think.
Really? That's just. That's
Jeff, you talked about
right.
where the Bucks play. I was when I was a kid. I think we talked about. I was a big Pirates fan because my mother's from Pittsburgh. I went to Forbes Field when I was a kid. And I went to Three Rivers. That's why I feel a need to go to Pittsburgh and go to a baseball game, just so I can say I've been to the last three stadiums. I haven't been to a professional baseball game since 1993, which was the year before the strike for obvious reasons. And maybe I need to let go of my grudge.
Well, if you went there, Steve, what they did is they combined the ballparks. So the right field bleachers are Ebbets Field, and then the left field bleachers are Three Rivers, and then they got a great rotunda experience. It's like a nice big walkway to where on the outside of the ballpark is where the concessions are, and then to walk inside the ballpark to get your seats, it's a separate rotunda. It's a really marvelous baseball experience.
Well, that's why I need to go.
I would park on the other side of the river and walk over the Roberto Clemente Bridge. It's quite an experience to get there.
I remember the day when he died.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was awful.
So how many ballparks you all been to?
I've been to about half. I've been to a lot on the East Coast and the West Coast. It's the middle of the country I need to get to.
Leonard?
As I said, not big traveling, so I'd probably count them on. I've been to the Oakland Coliseum, Citi Field, probably 4.
I've been to a couple.
Yankee Stadium, maybe 5 or 6 actually. When I think about it, probably 5
I've been
or
to
6.
a couple that aren't around anymore. Baltimore is not around. The old Veterans Stadium, the old Candlestick Park, they're not around anymore.
The old Yankee Stadium.
Shea Stadium, Yankee Stadium.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
until
true.
10 years ago, I'd been to every one of them. Me and a friend of mine, and then
You won't find this on any other networks. Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing cable news channel on all major systems. Check your cable guide or call them to get Newsmax. Or get it free on Roku, YouTube, Xumo, Pluto, or Amazon Fire. And smart TVs like Samsung, Sony, or LG. Plus, you can download the free Newsmax app on your phone and watch us anytime, anywhere. So find out about the growing danger to your Bible freedom. Watch Newsmax TV's Greg Kelly tonight.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome back to the BBQ Show live right here on Talk Radio 102.3. Hey, he's the king and he reigns supreme at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. Myron mixing rubs and sauces. Set the pace for your backyard cookout. Myron is the winningest man in barbecue and he wants to be part of your backyard team. So team up with Jack's Old South and get your Myron mixing products at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. Our friend Al Selvage texts us in on the Butcher Barbecue text line. Bradley, his favorite park, the Bradley County Little League Ballpark. When he coached up there, the lady had the best hot sauce. He said she made me a gallon every year at the Bradley County. The county right next door to Hamilton County. All right, Leonard, you're having a cookout at the house. It's nothing fancy. You don't have to barbecue anything. You just got to grill some dogs. I want from you, the brand of dog, the garnish, the brand of bun, and the cooker that you're going to use for your backyard hot dog revival.
Well, I mean, easy enough for the grill. The hot dogs don't require much. As I'm going to just use the Weber, the gas grill. I mean, I have the smokers, but I'm certainly not starting up a smoker to make hot dogs.
Okay.
You know, I'm sorry. I love hot dogs, but not worth the time. Probably, I might get some Nathan's maybe, or maybe Nathan's or Ballpark Franks. You know, the Ballpark Franks, they plump when you cook them.
Mm-hmm. Regular or bun size?
The long ones, whichever the long ones. I want the longest. I don't care if they fit in the bun or not. I like them when they hang off. It's fine. And I'll tell you what, Trader Joe's has the best sauerkraut. I don't know if you guys have Trader Joe's out there. I know you've got a lot.
Not yet.
Yes?
Not yet.
They have the best sauerkraut. It's sauerkraut, and in the sauerkraut are pickles. And it is fantastic. That and probably some Golden's mustard on there, and maybe I'll saute some onions, get them really caramelized, put them on, and nothing better.
Jeff Cohen?
Yeah,
hot dog recipe.
I would agree with Len with the going with the Weber gas grill instead of firing up the smokers. I think I would go with either a Hebrew National or a Sabrett hot dog.
There you go.
Long size is good for me. I would get the bun would be a store brand, but I'm not a big mustard or relish guy, but I would put some stewed onions on there, maybe a little cheese, and I'll put it in a nice potato type bun from the local market.
What about you, Jeff Maxwell?
Best kosher Hebrew National on a poppy seed bun with sport peppers, mustard, onion, and a kosher pickle.
Man, those sound good.
And done on the flat top.
On the flat top?
Yes.
Not on the grill.
I'll do them on the grill too, but on the flat top you'll get that caramelization on the casing of the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Are you slicing them open? Are you slicing them?
Not on the. As a kid, now I grew up in a place that sliced the dog in half, put a brick on top of it, and grilled it, and then put it on a hamburger bun. But no, I'm gonna just let go on the grill.
Gotcha.
Jeff, have you and Leonard broken the Blackstone griddle yet? Have you bought one yet?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Are they popular there in New York?
They sell them. They do. I see them in the stores. For me, it's not really something that I would purchase. And
really,
I think I see it as more. You can make eggs on it. But I mean, I don't really see the purpose of it. So if I'm going to put something, if I need to have a griddle, something flat, I'll just maybe I'll use a cast iron on the on the grill and just heat that up.
Jeff, what about you? Jeff Cohen?
Yeah, I agree with Glenn. I probably just use the cast iron and put it on the grill. I don't have a flat top.
I tell you, down here, they are all the rage. Everybody has Blackstone. I mean, I've got one at the station. I've got one at home. I've got two of them, and they're great to use. And we make smash burgers. I tell you, after you smoke chicken wings, you smoke your chicken wings up to about 130, 135 degrees, and pull them off of the smoker, and then finish them off on the flat top. They are fantastic.
The thing is so easy to clean that you're not doing 20 dishes. It's such an easier cleanup.
Can I ask you guys a question about hot dogs? Two things. I want to say one is Jeff makes incredible onions. I don't know how he does it. Well, he's got like some kind of technique. They always come out good. But do you guys know that with the hot dogs where they make it, spiral, where it, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You cut the outside of it and it spirals. Mm-hmm. You ever make it like that?
No, I haven't. I've got a tool that I put a diamond pattern in them, and when you cook them, they swell up and they look really cool. But I have not. There was a guy that at the restaurant in my neighborhood years ago used to cut them spiral and deep fry them, and that was a really good hot dog.
I've done the deep fried Polish sausage. That's really good.
Yeah.
What's not good deep fried? No, anything is. I mean, right? You could. We had a restaurant here called the Sizzler years ago. I don't know if they're around anymore. And everything on it was breaded and fried, and it was just no matter what it was would taste good. What doesn't taste good? Breaded and fried.
Have y'all done fried Oreos?
No, but I've eaten fried Oreos. I just haven't made them. But
are they not a gift from God?
Twinkies?
Oh.
Yeah, same with Twinkies.
Yeah. And then I've had something with bacon wrapped around it as well. Either breaded and fried is great. Deep fried, the Oreos, and of course with bacon on it, and that's all you need.
All right, Jeff Cohen, if you could have one, we're gonna talk about cookers in the last segment. Let's introduce it. If you could give me the rundown of what you have on your arsenal, and what your next purchase will be.
Well, I have like I said, the Weber grill, the Weber gas.
Mm-hmm.
Also have a pit barrel smoker.
Mm-hmm.
as well as the Traeger pellet grill. That's what I have in my arsenal right now. Someday, maybe a big green egg, but that's down the road.
No want of an offset stick burner.
No, not yet. Nope.
Leonard,
maybe
what about you, Leonard?
Okay, so I've got a gas grill, I've got a pit barrel, I have the Traeger, and I have what I started smoking on. The first thing I used, which is the Weber Smoky Mountain, which is how a lot of people enter especially in this area, the way they enter smoking. But yes, I would like to have a green egg eventually, but an offset, definitely a stick burner. Yeah, if my wife would allow it.
Len's running out of room.
Is that a problem? Yeah. Is that a problem at your house?
Well, Steve, you know how they have the videos on YouTube on how to grill? You can watch and you can see how to make brisket and how to make ribs and how to whatever, anything you want. The one thing they don't have a video of is how to ask your wife if you can get just one more smoker, because that's a video I would watch.
Beg for forgiveness.
That's right.
Instead of asking for permission. I heard that. You're listening to the BBQ Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3. Our special guests are the entrepreneurs that have come up with Baseball and BBQ Podcast, Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen. They are calling and in with us from Long Island, New York. And we're going to finish up with them in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you real quick, all you pellet heads out there know your pellet smoker needs a quality fuel. At the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply, we stock Barbecuer's Delight pellets that will keep your smoker running smoothly with great flavor. Everything from mesquite, oak, hickory to cherry. You can trust Barbecuer's Delight pellets to stoke your smoker with flavor and dependability. We'll be right back with all these knuckleheads right here on the BBQ Show live on Talk Radio 102.3. So stay with us.
WGOW. News, weather, and traffic on time.
This is an all-hands-on-deck moment.
Talk Radio 102.3, WGOW FM.
Y'all have hot tubs?
I know you've been looking for a place like this. Well, so was I. And that's how the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop began.
What about hot dogs?
No, rubs, you have a hot tub.
Friendly
hot tub.
Gary.
Not outside.
But not too spicy.
JD forgot to turn down
there in the bathroom, but
Jeff, you got a hot dog? You got a
hot tub? No, I don't have a hot tub.
Do you have a hot tub?
No.
I don't have a hot tub either. I think they're disgusting.
That'd be nice, though.
I think they're disgusting.
This is the first time I had a house that didn't have a hot tub. They're phenomenal.
Boiling water, human.
When you're 28,
enzymes.
When you're 28 and single, it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you ain't either. 28 and single. I never was 28 and single.
I wasn't.
Neither was I.
Yeah, no,
I've been married all my life.
No. We're born.
Everybody on Facebook, thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for listening. Let's see. I don't know what Brian Blondell was talking about, but Brian, appreciate you.
He's poking the
joining
bear.
us. Okay. Okay. Jeff and Brian are having their own conversation in the chat room.
Brian's a Cub fan. I'm a Sox fan, so he's poking the bear.
Okay. Tom Ehad said to buy your wife a hot tub first.
Exactly.
That's a good way to do it. It's that would make an expensive smoker, but
I was going to say that's pretty expensive. If I had to buy a hot tub before I bought a new grill or something, I had to buy one of those grocery store grills that you put newspaper in and they're disposable.
If you had to buy one for every grill you'd need about 5 acres.
I know.
See, Steve, you have a very convenient thing. You could just say, "Well, it's for work, honey.
It's inventory.
This is just for work."
It's inventory. Absolutely,
Exactly.
It is inventory.
Yeah.
Everything I have is inventory. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You guys have been just fantastic tonight. I want to tell you.
We appreciate being on.
Thank you. We're very happy to be here.
Y'all have been great.
Check out discovertheforest.org for
All right,
cool
just a
places.
few minutes
Your
left.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality and best-selling author. If you don't know what you're passionate about or you dread going to work on Mondays, you're not alone. But it doesn't have to be that way. I'm here to help you find the work that you were created to do, right here on The Ramsey Show.
The Ramsey Show, weekdays at 1 on 102.3 FM, WGOW.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome back to the BBQ Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3, the Talk Monster. We're talking with Leonard Aberman and Jeff Cohen, the guys from the Baseball and BBQ Podcast. Green Mountain Grills are the pellet smoker of choice for Big Mo, Jim Elzer, Sterling Smith, and dozens of other professional barbecue competitors. Come by the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and see the Green Mountain Grill in action tomorrow. The best pellet smoker you can buy with a big period behind it. The Green Mountain Grill. We'll have ours out early in the morning. We're going to be warming up some barbecue and some macaroni and cheese for a little lunchtime event that we're going to have. And come by and you can watch it run live. We'll show you how it works. We'll show you all the intricacies of it, how easy it is to use, and you can just join the fun on the Green Mountain Grill. Leonard, you don't have a pellet smoker yet?
No, I do. I have a Traeger.
A Traeger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this past weekend, I had a good time with it. I made a couple of racks of ribs, a couple of pastrami's, had a nice time. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
What's your pastrami recipe? That's something I have not breached yet, the pastrami brisket.
Well, I got to tell you, I did use Meathead's recipe, who actually we had Meathead on at one time. Terrific guy.
There's your biggest, there's your biggest act right there. Grief, Meathead.
And I used his recipe from AmazingRibs.com, and it is a fantastic recipe. We actually, this past Saturday, it was Jeff's birthday. And what did he want to do for his birthday, besides go out with his wife that night? But during the day, we cooked barbecue, and we made a couple of pastrami's using Meathead's recipe, a couple of racks of ribs on the Traeger. It was fun.
How'd that pastrami turn out?
It was good. It was really good. It was, I used the shortcut method. I took the corned beef. I bought a couple of corned beefs. They were on sale because it was St. Patty's Day. A couple of corned beefs, and I did the cheap method. I got the salt out of them. I soaked them in water. We made the rub, so I didn't brine the brisket to make it into corned beef, and then so I skipped that step. But which makes it so much easier. But it was delicious.
Still took
really
13
good.
hours.
Yeah, that's right. It did. At 13, we started at about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and 1 in the morning, I was taking it off. And of course, now I still have to. I can't go to sleep. I still have to wait to put it away. So
I know you got to let it wait, and it's hard to do a brisket. Do you guys ever go into the city and have barbecue?
Yeah, we've been trying to do a barbecue tour that was disrupted by the pandemic, but we went to Morgan's Barbecue in Brooklyn. We went to John Brown Smokehouse in Long Island City, Queens. We've been to another place called Smokehouse in Garden City, Long Island. And this past 2 weeks ago, we went to a place called Dang Barbecue here in Seaford, Long Island. So we're trying to get around to all the rest barbecue places, barbecue restaurants around the area.
Is it what was the impetus of barbecue in New York City and in the surrounding boroughs? Because I don't think it's a long time thing, is it there?
Well, if you believe that pastrami, which is smoked corned beef, right, is barbecue, then Katz's Delicatessen is the longest running barbecue place in the country. So New York might just be the barbecue capital of the world.
All right, let's don't go crazy now. But however, but what about the other barbecue place? There's what's that guy's name is real popular up there? The big guy. What's his name? Oh, gosh, he's in New York.
Thinking Michael Simon?
No, he's in Cleveland.
He's in Cleveland.
Ed Randolph?
No, but anyway, he's well known for barbecue, and I think he traveled south of Texas to study it, and then took it back to New York. Do people in New York, do y'all talk about barbecue? You know, down here it's barbecue in college football. What's it like on Long Island? Y'all talk about? Is it real quick? In 1 minute, is it barbecue or is it fine dining?
It's barbecue. If you go to a barbecue restaurant, it's definitely barbecue style, and people talk about all the food and different type of meats that they have there. Definitely.
That sounds great. Leonard, Jeff, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate it. Hope everybody enjoyed you two guys as much as Jeff and I did. Next week, we'll be talking about charcoal here on the BBQ Show Live. We'll be talking about chunks and hunks and briquettes and logs and all kinds of charcoal talk right here. That's next Friday night. And we can't wait to see everybody again. And everybody, I want to tell everybody thank you for watching and thanks for listening. If you are out and about tomorrow, make sure you come to Ottawa and stop by the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop in Ottawa. Jeff, Leonard, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jeff.
And baseball and barbecue.
News Watch never stops. He's got it covered.
WGOW FM.
Saudi Daisy, Chattanooga. A Cumulus media station.
From ABC News.
All right, we're out, guys. Thank you so much, fellas.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody on Facebook watching and listening with us. Al, Tom, and all the guys in the chat room. We really appreciate that so much. Appreciate you guys coming out and spending time with us. So what's next on the what guests are in store for everyone on the Baseball and BBQ Podcast?
In the pipeline, though, we have, we told you, Anthony Tacoma tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But we have, coming up, we have a former pitcher, Jerry Royce. We have Grubbs from that Netflix show, American Barbecue Cook-Off.
Who do you have?
Grubbs.
Grubbs?
James Grubbs.
I had him a couple months ago. He's great.
Yep. We're going to have Nick Mangold, former football player who has a barbecue sauce out.
Mm-hmm.
So he played for the Jets. We have a couple of authors, Lou Friedman, who wrote a book on Cy Young. So we have a pretty good lineup coming out.
Well, that's fantastic. And Leonard, does Jeff get all the baseball people and you get all the barbecue people? Y'all split
no,
up
actually,
split up the chores?
It's funny because we actually we have somebody that he prefers to remain under the radar, but who helps us occasionally and gets us some guests as well. But no, we kind of just brainstorm, and like I got Mackie Sasser, Jeff got and Nick Mangold. Jeff got Mark Littell, and Jeff got
Royce, and
exactly.
Campanis Jr.
Yeah, we don't. It's not. We just kind of brainstorm, and there's no real the only real division of labor is Jeff edits, but other than that, we'll come up with guests, and like I'm trying to get I want to get Willie Randolph, so I'm going after him. Bobby Valentine, I think. Did I go after Bobby Valentine?
I got
you
Bobby.
got him. So yeah, it's kind of whoever gets whoever. It doesn't matter.
I want to get Derek Richards on one of these days.
Yeah, exactly. And Myron Mixon. So Myron, if you're listening, we want to get you on, please.
He's not.
Oh, yeah. Steve, I know this isn't what you asked, but it's amazing. Next week, your show is going to talk about charcoal, and what's amazing is how I know that I love barbecue is that I'm like, wow, that sounds like an awesome show.
Charcoal is interesting.
I know it is, and that's what's great because that is a fascinating topic. But somebody who's not into barbecue won't find that interesting, and I just find it so fascinating. I can't wait to listen to that show.
Well, I'll tell you who brought what charcoal did. Charcoal brought John Solberg and Greg Rempe together.
Really?
Did you know that?
How so? No, how so?
John, I think, was on Instagram talking about he makes his own charcoal.
Wow.
And I think
really?
Greg reached out to him, and I remember I was watching the show when John made his first appearance on the show as a guest. And the two they kept talking, and look what that has led to.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But that's how many different, like people that don't understand or don't have a passion for it might say, how could that be interesting? But it is very interesting that, the topics that you could come up with and to talk about charcoal and the woods to use and all that is just, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Tim Shear to be on the show with us. So Tim, if you're out there listening, or if anybody knows Tim, I texted him, did not get a return text, but it's still early in the negotiations. So Friday nights are tough to get guests. They go, Friday. Can't you do it on Tuesday? No, it's Friday.
We had a guest on, talk about interesting. We had a guest, Tim Razor, and he has a company called Fifth and Cherry, which is cutting boards.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fascinating, because like he said, the stories, maybe cutting boards, he made a joke like, how could cutting boards be interesting? But the guy he did, how many tours of Iraq did he do, Jeff?
I think he did 3 tours of Iraq.
Yeah, of Iraq. And
it's always the backstory. It's always the backstory and how they invented or how they came across what they're doing in barbecue. The pit barrel cooker story is fascinating.
Yeah.
Right, Noah Glanville.
With Noah, yeah.
Sure.
So that's a fascinating story. Well, fellas, I'm gonna let you go. I know it's Friday night in Long Island, and I bet you guys are ready to partay.
We're just. Steve, you've been amazing. Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Been amazing. We appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
You bet, fellas.
We hope we entertained, and we will entertain with baseball.
You did a great job. And we will hook up
Yes.
again. I assure you.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank him.
Appreciate it.
He's the
Bye-bye.
leader of the show. I'm Ed McMahon. I'm just this guy on the side that's in the way.
Ed was important.
He was important. He was. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
And thanks, everybody, for watching on Facebook. We'll see you here next.